La Crosse Local is proud to be a sponsor of the La Crosse Winter Roots Festival, brought to you by Ultra Federal Credit Union. We invite you to celebrate music, cuisine, artists, makers, brewers, and distillers in the new La Crosse Center Riverside Ballroom. Musical entertainment includes Dan Sebranek, Reed Grimm, Tug, The Remainders, Greg Hall and the Wrecking Ball, and the Trippin' Billies, the nation's most renowned Dave Matthews tribute band. La Crosse Winter Roots Festival is presented by the La Crosse Center, La Crosse Local, and with special thanks to The Remainders.
I'm going home. Hey, I'm going home.
Find out more information and how to get tickets at lacrosselocal.com. We chatted with Dan Sebranek, a musical legend in the area. We talk about influences, his process for songwriting, playing live again. We touch on what's next for this musician, including music abroad, and where people can find out more. You can find more conversations, food reviews, live music, and events on our website, lacrosselocal.com. I'm Amy.
And I'm Brent.
And this is La Crosse Local.
Well, my name is Dan Sebranek. I was born here in the La Crosse area, Onalaska. Really, I went to Onalaska High School and basically got into music when I was quite young. My dad played guitar and sang all his life, and there was quite a bit of music around in my family. My aunt and uncle played, and so it was always around, and my dad had a guitar. But I started taking four-string banjo lessons when I was about 9 or 10 years old. One of my older brothers brought home a banjo. He was taking lessons, and I picked it up. I guess if I remember correctly, I picked it up, and I was just playing the chords. You know, it's a four-string, so you could pretty easily put your fingers where you're supposed to on the chords. And then the next thing I know, I'm taking four-string banjo lessons every Saturday morning with a guy named Andy Anderson, who was pretty infamous in that world of four-string music. I did that for about 2 years, and like I said, I was 9 or 10 years old, and the songs I was learning were songs from probably the 40s and 50s and 30s, whatever, the kind of the ragtime, old Great American Songbook kind of songs like 5'2" and Year One, the World is Waiting for the Sunrise, stuff that I'd never heard. But anyway. So, after a couple of years, I picked up my dad's guitar and wanted to play rock and roll. But learning on the banjo at that age was pretty cool as I got older, because it kind of I had a basis of, almost a jazz kind of thing, background, some of those chords and transitions. And so anyway, I picked up my dad's guitar and started just kind of playing it. One of my brothers played, so I'd sit in the bedroom and watch him play. And when he left, I'd try to do what he did. And I guess it was maybe 7th grade, middle school. I was with a couple friends, Dave Soley and Dave Broker. And Dave Soley played drums, and Dave Broker wanted to play bass. So we just started getting together and playing songs, in one of our houses. Back in, I suppose, 73, 74, in that area.
So who are you covering then?
Yeah, like Bachman Turner Overdrive, Black Sabbath, and Chicago. Those were the bands that were kind of on the radio, I guess, and Kiss. So we just played. Maybe once every 2 or 3 months we'd get together. And so Dave Soley, a lot of people know Dave around the area because he's on Channel 19. He does the show Live at 5, and he's pretty well known around here. But anyway, his father knew Lindy Shannon. Lindy Shannon was the guy to know in La Crosse that booked music. I mean, back then you kind of went through him if you wanted to get bookings. So he came to hear us at Dave's house, and we didn't have a singer. None of us sang at the time, so he said, if you get a singer, I'll come back. So we got another guy from high school, Steve Hoffman, and he came back, a few months later. And next thing you know, we're out playing music, and we were all like 15 years old at the time. So we were all playing in bars and high schools and stuff. And so that's kind of how I got started. And, luckily for me, it's kept going. I've been fortunate enough to hook up with lots of different musicians over the years and just keep kind of playing. After about 5 years the band was called Phoenix, and that's what we played 70s rock and country rock. We did a lot of Hartsfield and Pure Prairie League, and then we do stuff like Queen, Kiss, which we still do. We actually get together once or twice a year, the same guys, and still get out and play. So, but after that, I transitioned to acoustic guitar, and that's where I kind of stayed ever since. I still get the electric out, but.
So going from the acoustic, what are some of the things that have influenced you, or bands or musicians that have influenced you acoustically, kind of more of the folk, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was into a band called Hartsfield. I don't know if you've ever heard of them or not, but I think where I got turned on to them was there was a radio station in town called WSPL, and they did it back in the 70s, and they did a lot of album rock. So they'd play full albums, like on Monday night or something. And I heard this band called Hartsfield, and if I had to categorize them, they're kind of a cross between the Eagles and Pure Prairie League, and kind of that style where the acoustic guitars, they're pretty prevalent, but a lot of vocals. The Hartsfield band was a huge influence on me. So, it kind of helped me transition from a kind of 70s rock to more of an acoustic thing. And then I got into Dan Fogelberg, definitely more acoustic and great vocals. And anyway, so those two bands are the biggest influence, Hartsfield and Dan Fogelberg.
I've known of you at least. Probably I'm also from La Crosse and, lived here majority of my life. So, I've seen you in different iterations from, solo to bands and things like that. For you now, what is your process for songwriting? Is it individual, or do you work with other people to kind of pull that off? Or is it fast, or is it, how do you kind of work on that?
Yeah, it's definitely more individual. I've been working and playing music with a guy named John Smith for 30 plus years, and him and I have written a handful of songs together. But most of the writing I do now is just on my own. Kind of tended to even write a little more instrumental music than songs with words nowadays. Anyway, I was never really into co-writing. I've done some of that, but I've just always kind of felt, for me anyway, that if you're writing songs that are personal, I just kind of want to do them on my own. And there's tons of great songs that are co-written, but I think when you co-write, you're kind of you're trying to come up with something together, and it might not be quite as personal. That's where I go there. And as far as recording, I've done a number of things over the years, but I have a little home studio now that I've been doing some recording with. Last year about this time, I did a little Christmas recording, some original stuff and some other more obscure things, and just put it out and gave it to friends. That's kind of where I'm at there, and I don't write a ton right now, but it comes, I'm working on a couple songs right now that I hope to get done.
So you kind of reference like your home studio taking place, kind of putting that together last year. How did being a musician that plays out quite regularly, how was COVID for you? I also noticed on your website that you occasionally did yearly tours to Ireland, Colorado, the Keys. What was COVID like for you?
Oh my gosh. Well, it was challenging for me. I have to say, you try to make the best of it and be thankful that you have what you have. But as with a lot of people, not even musicians, but just, people working and doing certain things, everything was shut down basically. And for a lot of people, some people still kind of did their normal thing. But yeah, it was weird because, I flew home from Florida. That was like in March of last year, 2020. And, the next day or two, the whole country was shut down basically. So that, every single gig I had was canceled, as with most people. Yeah, it was, a very strange time, and still is, but at least we feel like we can get out and do some things now. But as far as music, my wife and I play together a bit. She's a a really good singer-songwriter, but that's not her profession. But we started doing the Facebook Live thing on Saturday nights, not knowing how long it would last, but we just started doing it every Saturday because we were home and not doing anything else. And we ended up doing 63 weeks in a row of Saturdays before we stopped, which was
Wow.
around, yeah. So that, honestly, that helped to keep me focused on music. And, we'd learn new songs every week. So you kind of challenge yourself to do some of that. But, and then, we found out, a lot of people tuned in and, they weren't doing much either. So it was kind of something to look forward to. And then we also met some friends who were doing the same thing on Friday night, and we didn't really know them at all. And now we've become friends because they were doing exactly the same thing musically on Friday nights. But you try to make the best of it, but it was definitely challenging.
You're also playing at the La Crosse Winter Roots Festival at the beginning of the year as well at the La Crosse Center. What has it been like getting back in front of all the people and the live shows?
Well, gosh, the first thing I did was first thing in public was back in I think early June, and it was pretty emotional actually for me. I mean, it was at the Freight House. It was out in the back outside, so you felt I guess safe. But at that point, a lot of us were vaccinated and felt like we could do this, and it was pretty cool. I mean, I hadn't seen a lot of these people for a long time, and I have a number of friends and fans that come out a lot, and so the first time it was pretty emotional. Actually, it was pretty special. It was a little weird to set up and get in front of people again, but and then from that point, I was able to do quite a few things this last summer, and most of them have been outside. Yeah, so I guess it was good. You try to do the best you can and be positive, but there were definitely times it was challenging, and you just kind of like, man, this is what I do. It's what I feel I should do, and you can't really do it. So
yeah, it was definitely tough. It was wild. Is there anything exciting, coming up? What's next for you? Is there anything you gotta, you're positive on your outlook out there? New music, new album, anything?
Well, no, not really a new album. I mean, I've got a bunch of things I want to record, and you had mentioned Ireland trips, and that's something that I've done a lot of over the last 10, 12 years, going to Ireland at least once a year, if not twice, and taking a group of 20, 25 people and travel around. You spend like 10 days there. You go to 3 different counties and you stay there for 3 days. And it's just a very magical, inspirational thing that every time I've gone has been really, really cool. And so I've got some songs that I'm putting together to do a little, CD or whatever we do these days. I guess we can still do CDs, but in fact, I just was in the studio with John Smith here a couple of weeks ago, and he's got some really great stuff coming out. And but I guess, yeah, he's doing a CD. You got to do something. I mean, some of us that have been around a while, it's like you need something tangible in your hands, I guess, not just something on the internet or MP3s or whatever. But so I'm hoping to do that recording. I want to do an expanded Christmas recording. The one I did last year was 6 or 7 songs, and I've got a bunch more ideas and things. I've just always been into Christmas. I play in a band called String Ties, which is a bluegrass band. So for the last 10 or 15 years, we've done these Christmas shows, which have been really cool. We've worked really hard to get a show together. It's all Christmas music, but it's done in bluegrass kind of thing. So we'll throw in little pieces of a Nutcracker, and
nice.
Worked hard. Yeah, and so we didn't do it last year, obviously, and our banjo player Tom Paff and his wife Christy have now moved to Tucson, and so they're not going to be back for Christmas. They are coming back the next summer for a couple months. So right now I'm working with the 2 other guys from the band, and then we've got a different banjo player and a fiddle player that we're working with, and we've already done 3 or 4 rehearsals for that. So we're hoping, with the COVID thing, it's kind of strange to plan these things inside, but we have 3 dates up at Leon Leona's in December, and we've always done the Pump House as well. So I don't know if we're going to do that this year, but looking forward to that. We've had some rehearsals, and it's been fun. It's been different, but it's really a pretty cool thing. So, I'm planning to go back down to Florida a couple times here over New Year's, and then I go down for 3 or 4 weeks towards the end of February and play down there.
So if people want to find out more, what's the best avenue for them to go to? Your website, social media? What do you keep updated?
Update is a good word, because I have to do that with my website. I'm pretty laxed about that, but I'll get at it. But yeah, my website, which is just dansebranek.com. I'm not much into Facebook. I have a page, but it's more for just when we put the live stuff out. I think it's Dan Sebranek 1111. But my website, you can definitely go there, and I'll update that hopefully here soon. And then there's a way to contact me on that, And then, yeah, you mentioned the Winter Roots Festival. I'm looking forward to that, because I've always thought there should be something like that in La Crosse in the winter, a 1 or 2 day kind of a festival. And so, yeah, I'll be playing with, on that one, I'll be playing with Josh Raby. Do you know Josh at all?
Yep. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is awesome. And then I'll probably be Wayne Beasley from the String Ties Band on mandolin. And then I haven't put it fully together yet, but it'll be probably more, it'll be, kind of bluegrassy stuff. And, because like I said, Tom Papp's down in Tucson, and I think Larry Dalton, our bass player, is going to be gone at that time. But I'm looking forward to that, because it'll be something a little different, but it'll still be in the bluegrass vein.
La Crosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you'd like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at La Crosse Local. Find out more about us at lacrosselocal.com, and you can subscribe to the La Crosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We appreciate it.